So it's a Café Brat track. Wait, tracker Scrambler track. Wait, no Café. Wait, track. Wait, bobber. No, chopper. Is that? Hey guys, Submoto here, riding here alongside the Copenhagen beach. Yeah, so I've been getting a lot of questions as far as it seems like all my motovlogs start with, I've been getting a lot of questions. Well, I have. About what the difference is between a Brat style, Café Racer, tracker, Scrambler, and I wanted to get into kind of what that is, because there are definite differences. I've talked about the design of a Café Racer, what a Café Racer in essence is, a couple of videos back. So a Café Racer basically in essence is a bike that was modified once upon a time in the 50s and 60s to look like MotoGP bikes. They made them lighter and made them basically look like those bikes looked on the track. It's more of a European thing. It was an English phenomena back then, where they had Triumphs and Nortons and those kinds of bikes. And like I said, there's a link in the description to the other video which will explain more of what a Café Racer is, a little more in depth than this. But in essence, it's usually a one-seater with clip-ons and a very, very specific look to it. There's some design aspects to it that will define a Café Racer. So a tracker. What is a tracker? A lot of people see my other bike and would call that a Café Racer, but it's not. It's actually a tracker, and a tracker has its own history, total different history. It's more of an American thing. So back when the Europeans were doing or the British were doing their Café Racer thing, actually more around between the 50s and start 80s, the tracker phenomenon was growing in the United States. So its history, what it comes from, is board track racing a long time ago. That's back when they started board tracking with bicycles, and they put engines on these bikes and they rode them around like oval tracks. And once they started getting too fast and they started becoming too dangerous to ride on these board tracks, they introduced dirt track riding, which is again so dirt bikes riding around in a circle, and that kind of picked up speed just before the Second World War. Now the Depression came along, and the Second World War came along, and that kind of put a stop to everything. But it kind of made a comeback in the 50s when they introduced flat track riding. So you had flat trackers riding around in a circle, and that really picked up the speed in the States. And those bikes are quite specific. They had obviously they didn't have clip-ons because that wouldn't make sense on a dirt track. So what they had is they had more like an upright seating position, and the rear cowl or the rear seat had a very specific design as well, and that looks like this. This bike right here would probably be considered the ideal street tracker. I mean that picked up speed in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Evel Knievel rides that kind of bike. That's basically what's associated with that kind of bike. And eventually, just like the Café Racer, the Café Racers were like an imitation of the MotoGP bikes. Street trackers were an imitation of flat tracker bikes. So they basically took a flat tracker and made it road legal. Put a front light on it and a headlight and the whole thing, and made that street legal. So that's what's a street tracker. A Brat style. Brat style is a cafe racer that was introduced by a Japanese custom builder that had a very specific kind of seat that they use, and those Brat styles bikes, they had these banana kind of seats. I think they started originally by using a skateboard, like kind of like a padded skateboard, and that kind of evolved into more like a Brat style bike. What I did on my bike, my tracker, if you've seen that, is I took a basic tracker design with the upright seating position for a tracker, and used basically everything a tracker would have. Maybe not the knobby tires, because some trackers have knobby tires. Still, even for street use. And I put a Brat style seat on there, so I guess it's like a Brat tracker. And like I mentioned in the other video, it's really just a matter of it's artistic freedom you have when building these things. So no one's going to tell you how to do it specifically. You do whatever you feel is right for you. And I felt like it would be easier and better for me to be able to have a passenger with me, and I thought it'd look cool with a Brat style seat. And I've seen a lot of trackers with Brat style seats, and but mostly Brat bikes are not trackers, they're cafe racers. Now, a Scrambler is a lot like a tracker, but the pipes, I mean, it'll mostly have knobby tires, but the pipes, they run up alongside like this, like in this picture, and you'll notice that when the pipes just kind of get out of the way of the mud, and so you not to get water in them and stuff like that. That's what's considered a scrambler. That's the basic design. So in essence, it is a lot like a tracker, but with the pipes, and mostly they will also have more of like a rundown look to them. A rat bike is what I call, I don't know even know if it's a real term, but a cafe rat style bike. Not Brat, but rat. I'm getting all confusing here. A rat style bike is more of a broken down kind of look. You have a rusty tank, and everything on there looks like it's 100 years old, and it kind of has that steampunk look to it. And a lot of people will let their tanks rust or give it that rusty look, and then lacquer the tank with like see-through lacquer. Ooh, 2 cops right there. I'll keep my distance, because they's gonna arrest me for being so awesome on my bike. Or not. They may just ignore me. So anyway, yeah, so that's the basic types. I'm not going to get into bobbers and choppers and that kind of thing, because I kind of feel like that's out of genre, like the crowd that rides cafe racers and trackers and scramblers and Brat bikes and rat bikes. They usually don't do choppers, and they usually don't do some do bobber styles, and here's a picture of a bobber. To tell the truth, I know very little about the history of bobbers, because although I think they look awesome, it's never really interested me that much. Maybe it will one day. Who knows? So I hope that illuminates your world somehow. So remember to subscribe and ride, and I'll catch you all later. Bye-bye.